Hello and welcome to my aeb1250 Assessment 2 video on decimal numeration and operations. The grade or year level that I will be focusing on today will be the grade 6 level, and I have listed the objectives from the Australian Curriculum website under the strand fractions and decimals, and picked out the objectives that relate only to decimal numbers. The objectives are to add and subtract decimals with and without digital technologies, and use estimation and rounding to check the reasonableness of your answers, multiply by whole numbers and perform divisions by non-zero whole numbers where the results are terminating decimals with and without digital technologies, multiply and divide decimals by powers of 10, and make connections between equivalent fractions, decimals and percentages. In the activity that I've chosen today to show you, I've decided to focus on the first objective, which is the addition of decimal numbers. A quote about decimals taken from the textbook Helping Children Learn Mathematics states that difficulty with adding or subtracting decimals arises mainly when the values are given in the horizontal format and decimals are expressed to a different number of places. I've addressed both of these points in my learning activity that I chose today. One of the most common misconceptions relating to the addition of decimal numbers is a failure to place a decimal point in the correct position. Lee Bruckner carried out a test to see how students responded to a lesson on decimal addition, and he said that the failure to place a decimal point correctly was the greatest cause of errors in addition, with 0.3 plus 0.5 plus 0.8 equals 0.16 being the most common type. Of course, it's 1.6. And even though you might look at the date that this was that the test was performed in 1928, this still rings true in the classroom today in terms of one of the most common misconceptions to do with decimals. In order for students to complete the activity, they need to have prior knowledge in the following areas. So they need to have prior knowledge in place value, which comes around year 3 level, and they should be able to apply place value to partition, rearrange and regroup numbers to at least 10,000 to assist calculations and solve problems. They also need to order decimal numbers by size, that's year 5 level, and that the objective is to compare, order and represent decimals. And in year 5 they also have to round numbers to nearest whole number, and the objective for that is to use estimation and rounding to check the reasonableness of answers to calculations. This anchor chart on addition and subtraction of decimals outlines an easy 5-part method. Step 1 tells you to line up decimals vertically. Step 2 gets you to add a 0 to the right of any numbers as needed for place value reasons. Step 3 is beginning in the lowest place value, begin adding or subtracting from right to left. Step 4 is bring down the decimal point, so you've got to bring it down directly beneath where it is on the two numbers that you're adding. And step 5, check to assess whether or not your answer is reasonable using estimation. Okay, so we have two numbers here, 6.51 and 3.6, and we're going to add these numbers together using a place value chart. So to start off with, we put the 6 in the ones column. The tenths column contains the 5, and 1 is in the hundredths column. The number we're adding together, we have 3 in the ones column, 6 in the tenths column, and because there's no hundredths column, we have to put in 0. So we put that in to maintain the place value. That's the place value holder. Remember to put the decimal points in a vertical line through. Remember that the decimal point has no position, it hasn't got a separate column, it's just between the ones and the tenths. We add them together, so 1 plus 0 is 1, 5 plus 6 is 11, so have 1 and carry the 1, and 6 plus 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. And stupid me, put the equals sign in the tens column. Here's another example of a place value chart being used to aid a child add decimal numbers. I really like this activity as it builds on skills students would generally know at this stage of their primary school, for example place value. Incorporating place value and the traditional addition of 2 or 3 digit numbers that they've learnt in early primary school as a way of adding decimal numbers will help the student latch on to the idea, I think, sooner than possibly other ways. I hope you enjoyed my presentation on Grade 6 Decimal Addition, and thanks for watching.